Britain, home of the monarchy and the hungry. With more food banks than McDonald's, it's shocking to see the amount being spent, now rising to 250 million on putting a jewel-covered hat on someone's head in a religious ceremony that neither the church nor the hat owner will be paying for. And in a recent YouGov poll, people are starting to say they don't care much, if at all. And it's in a downward trend. In 2013, 75% wanted the monarchy to continue. Now in 2023, only 58% want the monarchy.
They're spending so much on a coronation. It just feels like a kick in the teeth.
I think if it looks too extravagant, it won't go down well.
Wanker! Wanker!
Yes, I know, yes.
Wanker! You're a wanker! Wanker!
Right, quite right. Spot on, he's got it.
Ballad.
And yet 30 minutes away is the Evelyn Food Bank. It might as well be on another planet.
Yeah, we have got palaces and we have got landmarks. There is a lot of pomp and thing going on. People cannot afford to eat and heat. And it's not just one area now. Every area is exactly the same. Everybody is struggling. We have nurses who work and cannot afford their shopping. There is a new class now. There is the working poor. It's really worrying.
I don't give a B because the royal family ain't doing nothing for us. They're feeding the rich and the poor are getting poorer, so it's all about them.
So I went to Buckingham Palace to see what people think about the cost of the coronation, the monarchy, and the oath of allegiance. Yes, that's right, we've gone full Game of Thrones.
People from around the world, I believe, will probably be still coming down for it, but it certainly does not have the same sort of energy. Obviously with King Charles III, you know, he has some very large shoes to fill.
Has it affected tourism? Like, has it gone up as a result? Has it made a difference?
It's slightly gone up. The only comparison I can give is with the Queen last year. The Queen undoubtedly drove up tourism massively, whether it was the Jubilee, whether it was her funeral, her death. Everyone wanted to come and see a part of her. I've got very little requests to go and see anything to do with King Charles. Wow. He's not very popular.
What can you tell me about the monarchy? What are your thoughts on it?
Well,
we're royalists, aren't we?
yeah, royalists really, but a bit dodgy lately. Andrew and Harry.
Oh my word. What were your thoughts on Andrew first? Because no one seems to be talking about him in the news.
No.
He's kept very quiet. He needs to keep quiet and do something else.
I think that's the best thing, to keep quiet. Don't spoil the day.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lovely day.
Just keep out the way.
Yeah, you don't think the police should be investigating him, or is that too... Do you think they should be left alone and he should be kept in a castle?
Wait till after the event and then we'll
just keep out the way.
What can you tell me your thoughts on the coronation and the king and all of that?
I'm quite excited by it, although not really a royalist. I would say I'm quite excited to see what happens and to see if there's a difference in the way the monarchy is and what it looks like for the future.
What do you think of the future, considering with everything that's gone on within the family over the last 5 years?
I'd like Harry to be king. I think it'd bring some controversy.
We all need a bit more drama, don't we?
Indeed. I think actually what it is it makes people real, doesn't it? Actually, that every family has difficulties, there are issues, there are disagreements, and actually it makes them no different.
There's also a strange uncle in every family, isn't there?
Absolutely.
What puts you off with the current royal family then?
What puts me off? I just think there's a lot of scandal going on. I'm not a big fan of Prince Charles or King Charles now, in the grand scheme of things. Everything to do with Jimmy Savile to Diana. I think he's got a lot to answer for, this little king of ours. So I will be watching, but I won't necessarily be celebrating.
I think generally people in my generation are very, very pro the monarchy. I have been, always will be, my parents were, always were. The coronation is slightly different. I think Charles is trying to keep it low-key. An environmentalist, always has been. He's famous for talking to his plants.
Yeah.
So whilst it's not something we will necessarily be celebrating, we'll probably have a bottle of something to say good luck. But we won't be doing a street party or... I think it's more like a normal day. We'll watch it on TV. That's about it.
Why are you not so interested in doing more, I assume for the Jubilee you went a little bit... Did you do more for the Jubilee?
We did a little bit for the Jubilee. There was a question asked on the TV the other day about, is the coronation necessary? Well, according to A, tradition, and B, legality, it is necessary. He has to be crowned.
Interestingly, that is completely incorrect. It is just a ceremony to show and give awe and inspiration to the nation, as if it was some sort of episode of Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings.
Can you guys tell me what your thoughts are on the monarchy?
On the monarchy, I believe we should not have a monarchy. I think the Queen stayed on the throne precisely because she knew what Charles was going to be about. Right? He needs to stop himself talking and approaching the WHO. Right? If he's going to approach the WHO, he cannot be a king. He's supposed to be doing for the people, not for private enterprise. That's my thoughts.
What are your thoughts on the monarchy?
I mean, yeah, they're alright, you know. Good people.
Good people?
Well, some of them.
took about, recently it came out that they took about £1 million off the Osama bin Laden family. Right. Were you aware of that?
No, I wasn't.
Does that change your view at all?
Bit mad, isn't it?
So that was some of the views, but let's find out what they thought about paying for it. Who should it be? Should it be the taxpayer? Should it be Charles?
Brings so much money into the country. The stall holders, the coffee shops, everybody else will make so much money from these events.
So I've been talking to some of the tourist guides around here and they're saying it's London that'll make the money, not the rest of the country. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the rest of the country is... Maybe we're a bit blasé because there's so much going on. Maybe we're a bit blasé because these things are up and we can't take our dogs on the normal walk route. I don't know. I'm not upset by that. I love seeing these people here and come and appreciate Mocha.
What do you think about the cost of everything? Do you think the king should be paying for it, or do you think it should be the public?
I haven't thought about it.
I haven't really thought about that, but what the hell, everything else has gone up, hasn't
Don't make much odds.
What's a few more pennies?
The whole population, it's only a couple of pennies, I expect.
Yes.
About a couple of quid, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then, you know, if you've got 2.2 billion in your pocket,
yes,
and then there's a cost of living crisis, that's the difficulty of it, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, perhaps it should pay for some bits, but...
It'd be nice if he did. He did get a tax break on the inheritance.
Yeah,
I don't know many other people that get that.
That is true. Perhaps he should pay for a bit of it.
Do you think they should be paying for it, or do you think we should be paying for it?
It's difficult. So I understand the conflicts between paying for royal stuff, taxpayers' money, especially if you don't live in London. You're thinking, what am I benefiting from this? I think as a person who lives in London and as someone who benefits in tourism, I support paying it because I know that the amount of money that it brings in is greater than what I pay individually in tax. But if you're in Scotland or if you're in Northern England and you never see London and you're in a kind of deprived area that never gets visited by the royals or doesn't have enough funding, I understand that you think, why on earth am I paying for this when it's a little bit pointless for me? I don't mind it, but I can understand people who say they don't want to pay. It's absolutely fine.
I mean, it's amazing with the tax breaks they got for the inheritance tax.
Yeah, it's funny that, isn't it?
Yeah,
funny that. Just keep finding money out of nowhere.
No money for this.
Yeah, apparently there's no money elsewhere, but we can definitely fund the coronation, which is great. I'm glad we've got our priorities right in this country.
At the end of the day, right, it's all about putting money in their back pockets and making the poor people poorer. They're trying to get rid of the middle class, so that we are going to be under and they are going to be above, and it's going to be like Younger Games.
I think that it's I still think it's a valuable tool. I used to be quite against the monarchy in terms of what it stood for in the past, after the British Empire in college. But I've seen the tourist impacts that it can bring. I used to have the argument that it was the places that brought the tourism, not the people, say the royal family. But I still think it holds some value. I think the Commonwealth values still stand to some point. I can understand countries leaving the Commonwealth.
Yep.
I think that it's good that they have a choice, but I still think it's quite a valuable tool if the sort of policies of the Commonwealth and the ideas that are spread through it, such as freedom, are held by, despite how untrue that may be for some of the countries.
What do you think if I said to you that the Louvre and Versailles in France are the most visited royal palaces in the world? Would that change any of your mind, or would that still...
I would say that backs up my... puts me on the other side of the fence.
So they are correct. Money is made through tourism, from having the Jubilee or even the Queen's funeral. But the devil is in the detail. The government's impact assessment noted that the 2002 Golden Jubilee saw GDP drop by 2.2% month on month. And the 2012 Diamond Jubilee saw 1.5% drop in a monthly GDP. And that, before the pandemic, These were the two largest monthly decreases since 1997, and that's not all. In its summary, the government claimed,
"A best estimate for the final monetised impact is minus £2.39 billion net present value for a Platinum Jubilee bank holiday in 2022. While the upper bound net present value is estimated to be minus £2.21 billion, the lower bound net present value is estimated to be minus £2.57 billion.
And that's not all. The Queen's death also impacted the economy. According to The Independent, it cost
between $1.6 billion and $7 billion due to all the bank holidays, business closures, funeral costs, coronation costs, changes to passports, military and police uniforms, currency adjustments, and other minor institutional changes.
Overall, it means even if you do increase the tourism and everything else, it only generates really money in London. And on top of that, the actual cost to GDP far outweighs the cost of bringing in that level of tourism. And we also managed to get some interesting views on taking that oath of allegiance.
What are your thoughts on that oath of allegiance he's asking everyone to do?
Well, shouldn't be allowed. He should be doing that. You know, he should be working, like I said before, same as the government. All they've done is made themselves mighty rich.
What do you think of the oath of allegiance? Would you consider taking it?
I would not, because to be honest, I think it's quite a pompous thing. It's quite a. It reminds me of things that I learned about in the 1940s and 50s, and it's quite jingoistic, I would say.
Even Vladimir Putin doesn't ask for an oath of allegiance.
Exactly.
What do you think of the oath of allegiance that's just come out then? Like, that's been announced today that all UK subjects are being asked to do an oath of allegiance. Would you consider doing that to the president or
to the country?
No,
to the country?
Yeah, not to our president.
No, not to the president. But
Have you seen who's been our president the past few years?
Yeah.
Trump will probably, if he gets re-elected, make us.
Yeah.
Considering the fact that 2.5 million subjects are having to go to food banks, it does seem pretty petty and awful that the king, who didn't pay any inheritance tax, can't stump up 250 million for his own ceremony, or even split it with the church. But still expects you to do an oath of allegiance to him. But would he do the same for you? Would love to know your thoughts on this, and as always, thank you so much to all of my supporters, both my patrons and my YouTube members. You help keep this channel going and growing. And if you'd like to help the channel for free, just click that like button. It all helps with the channel, either bringing in revenue or spreading the news. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.